Poem number 60. How often does the stage go quiet when the lead actress steps out, a quick intake of anticipation because she is about to deliver a speech so extraordinary, give a performance so unparalleled that truly no member of the audience will leave the theater unchanged? No. Usually they gasp because she's pretty. Then praise the man who steps out next. He really commanded the stage, they say. She was gorgeous, but a bit whiny. Why is it the woman is always degraded to a butt? Hi everybody, I'm Kaye Spivey. So this week wasn't the best writing week for me. I had family in town and was out doing kind of touristy things and it was a lot of fun, but so I didn't get a lot of writing in. I finally caught up yesterday and I had to remind myself that not every poem I write has to be my masterpiece. We're just writing 100 poems for the beginning of this year, and I have to keep thinking back to my original thought, which was if one of those each week is great, then that's fantastic. That's way more poetry than I would have written otherwise. So I have to kind of keep that in mind when writing these poems. Yeah, so hopefully if you're struggling too, just remember not every poem has to be your masterpiece. And because of my struggling, these are all kind of short little, almost anecdotal poems. This is number 58. All adventurers step out their door with a purpose, if not a destination, distant lands, shining castles, and then a goal. Even if it is only for fresh air and fresh sights, if it is riches, they bring daggers, if it is salvation, they bring words, and every one of them walks outside and learns along the way. Because I kind of fell behind in my poetry this week, I'm going to read poem number 55. And I know that should have been for last week, but I wrote it this week. So here's poem number 55. Cold, craggled spaces beneath a city that kept trying to build on unfriendly land reminds me of poetry, of building and revising, seeking unfriendly ears to fill a gape of silence with something which will someday be magical. In case anyone was wondering about poem number 55, I live near Seattle, and that's what that was about. I think that's it for this week. If you've been struggling like I have, I know we've kind of passed the hump, and if anyone's done NaNoWriMo before, you know that there's kind of stages of writer's block, kind of. When it comes down to NaNoWriMo, which is writing 50,000 words in a month in November, you kind of have the beginning where it's exciting, and then I find that at about 20,000 words, writing gets really hard for me. And then that happens again at 40,000 words. And I've actually written beyond that and found that about at 60,000 words, that also gets really hard for me. And so I have chunks where about every 20,000 words, writing gets really, really difficult, and it feels like a block, and it feels like I'm like pulling teeth trying to get some words down to try and keep up with my word count, and usually I slip behind in those sections. And I think we hit the 50 mark. That was really exciting, and then the section after that has been super hard. Hit 60 poems this week. We should be on poem number, I think we should be on poem number 63 today. But I think this is just one of those sections where it just gets really hard, and if you can push through and write some really crappy stuff, you get over that hump eventually. And it might take a couple more poems, but I think as we start to climb to the next big goal, which for me, I'm pushing the next goal to be 75 poems. I'm really excited about 75. I'd like to do some kind of a celebration also. I've been thinking about what to do for poem number 100. I want to do something cool. I know I'd like to post a read back through all of my previous poems. That would be really fun. To just have the poetry that I've read so far all in one video. I might put that together. Other than that, if you have any suggestions for something to do for the big celebration that we made it, let me know. Give me a shout out down in the comments and say what your thoughts are. I'd love to maybe feature some other people's poems, give some shout outs to other people who are doing the 100 Poems in 100 Days challenge. Maybe all those of us who make it to 100, if you can contact me somehow, either through Twitter or Tumblr or down in the comments or on NaNoWriMo. Actually, I have a forum on there that I'm keeping up with. If you let me know, maybe I can have a big shout out to everyone who made it on the 100th day. Alright, well, I'll see you back here next Saturday. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and hopefully next week will be a good writing week. Bye! Okay, testing. 1, 2, kitty. You want to sit back here? Two kitties in one video. No? Okay.